Greetings, loved ones. Like other forms of abuse, emotional child abuse is about power and control. The perpetrator manipulates and controls the child by using words and actions that are emotionally hurtful and damaging. And when it comes to abusive behaviors, there are several different risk factors that increase the likelihood that a person may engage in emotional abuse of a child. Today we're going to continue discussing emotional child abuse. Help us get these messages out. Please subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Hit the like button and the notification bell, and please share these messages with others. You could actually save a life. Let's talk about risk factors for emotional abuse. When it comes to abusive behaviors, there are several different risk factors that increase the likelihood that a person may engage in emotional abuse of a child. Aside from experiencing emotional abuse as a child themselves, here's an overview of things that put people at risk for being emotionally abusive towards children. Having a physical or mental illness such as post-traumatic stress disorder or depression. Dealing with financial stress, unemployment, or poverty. Being socially isolated or separated from extended family. Raising a child that is developmentally or physically disabled. Using alcohol or drugs, lacking parenting skills or an understanding of child development, experiencing a family crisis or family stress such as being victimized by domestic abuse or having marital conflicts. Another indicator is desiring to control a child by using words or actions, feeling anger or resentment toward the child or child care responsibilities, experiencing jealousy of the child. Keep in mind that children do not cause another person to be emotionally abusive. Engaging in emotional abuse of a child is a choice that the abuser makes. While those risk factors may increase the likelihood that abuse might occur, the person being emotionally abusive still has a choice and can learn to make better, less damaging choices. So let's talk about the impact of emotional abuse. The consequences of child abuse in any form can be severe and can persist into adulthood. A child often believes that they are responsible for the abuse and that it means they are unloved, unlovable, and unwanted. So here are 4 of the major long-term effects of emotional abuse and deprivation. First one is attachment issues. Emotional abuse can interfere with a child's ability to form and maintain healthy attachments. Attachment issues in early childhood have been linked to insecure attachments in adulthood. And children also might be at increased risk for poor peer relations, trouble with intimacy, difficulty with conflict resolution, and relational aggression. Second long-term effect is behavior and social problems. Emotional abuse in childhood also has been linked to delinquency and sexually aggressive behavior in young adults. A third long-term effect of emotional abuse in children is repeating the cycle of abuse. Without appropriate intervention, people who were abused as children are more likely to abuse their kids than people who did not experience abuse. And then there's suicide and mental illness. Teens who experience emotional abuse as children are more likely to be diagnosed with at least one mental illness such as depression or anxiety, which can persist into adulthood. People with a history of emotional abuse are also at increased risk of attempting suicide. Emotional abuse doesn't just have a negative effect on individuals and families, it also strains society. The consequences of abuse burden the health and social care systems and is costly because of increased educational failure, crime, and the need for mental health services. Not everyone who has a history of emotional abuse experiences lifelong scars, though. The duration, severity, and age of onset of the abuse are influential factors. Having other supportive adults in their lives can also offset the impact. According to the CDC, listen to this, according to the CDC, over half of all children in the world, that's 1 billion children aged 2 to 17, experience violence every year. The question is not if you'll encounter a victim of violence. The question before God is, what will you do when you do encounter them? You could be the person who saves a life. You are called. We are all called to be champions for justice. If you're a victim, I want you to listen to me. I want you to know that you are valued, you are loved, you're intelligent, and yes, you are worthy. God does not want you to suffer violence. He wants you to live free from violence in peace and tranquility. There is a way out. It is not your fault. Abuse is not love, and you are not alone. If you're suffering violence, reach out to someone today. If you find yourself in a dangerous situation, call 911 for help. If you know of a child or other person suffering violence, tell the authorities. In our next episode, we're going to talk about verbal child abuse. Until then, God bless you.